Good morning, everybody. Welcome. On behalf of the majority of the supervisors and the mayors from Onondaga County, we thank you for coming out today. As you can see, standing before you is a bulk of the elected representatives that represent the bulk of the residents of Onondaga County, and we stand united together as we always have and always will. We meet regularly, we share services, we want to continue to do that today. So I want to bring to the floor, or to the podium, Mary Ann Coogan, who is the Supervisor of the Town of Camillus and the President of the Onondaga County Supervisors Association, as well as Mayor Mark Olson, Mayor of Fayetteville, and the President of the Onondaga County Mayors Association.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Mark. As he said, I'm Mary Ann Coogan, Supervisor of the Town of Camillus, and we're here today, and I thank them all behind me and all of you, to voice our concerns with Governor Andrew Cuomo's shared services mandate. It's another mandate put down by the governor that we must deal with. He has given us less than 6 weeks to put a plan together. It took consensus 3 years, and that plan is not yet really in the true final stages. To take this and bring it to the public for a vote is unfair, it's unconscionable, and it's just absolutely shameful. So that's why we're here today. After Mark speaks, we will be free to answer any of your questions with regard to the shared service and the mandates that we have to deal with on a regular basis. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and I just want to thank this group behind me, because we are, as Mark said, united against this shared services plan. All of us share services every day in our villages and towns. We do it informally and formally because we have to be able to survive in New York State. But I want to bring out 3 points that I think are very important. The problems that we're having with is there's not enough time to do this properly. Everything that we do and we try to do in our villages and towns is done properly. And we want to make sure that we have time to do this. We're not against shared services. We do it every day. And in your packet that you've all gotten, there's over 10 or 12 pages of shared services that we do now and that we will continue to do and look for more. 2, we are not given any credit in this mandate for past services. So for years we have been sharing services together. There is no credit given for those past services in the governor's proposal. 3, if you look at the state budget, there is no funding available for these shared services. It says that they will match it 50% of the savings. But if you look in the state budget this year, there's no money for those savings. So we have concerns with that. I'd like to read something from NICOM. Peter Baines is the President and Executive Director of NICOM. This unworkable shared services smokescreen is the state's latest attempt to distract from the fact that they refuse to take responsibility for their major role in causing New York's high property taxes. Peter Baines, Executive Director of New York Conference of Mayors, municipalities invented and continue to pursue shared services agreements. Let's be clear, enhanced cooperation will never fix our property tax problem without long overdue relief from the state of New York. And as most of you will see, in this packet that we gave you is the layout and then the law that was passed by the state. It says here that the county executive officer shall serve as chair of the panel, and this was adopted on April 10th. On April 19th, the Village Mayors Associations met with NICOM and went over the proposal. On April 19th, the Town Association went over the proposal. On May 2nd, the state had a meeting with all of the towns, villages, and county officials to go over this plan. We have to have this worked out no later than August 1st. None of us have been contacted yet about a meeting date set to start this panel. By September 15th, they have to have a draft plan. And by October 15th, no later, it has to be adopted. This is just unrealistic when we haven't even started this plan. We want more time, we want a more in-depth look at this, and we want to share even more, but we need more time to do that. So we're asking that the governor slow this down, give us the time that we need to do this right, because as I said before, we want to do this right, we want to share, and we want to be part of the solution, but the state has to stop doing what they're doing. It's got to stop. Thank you. We'll take questions, please.
At least a year. At least a year. By 18, I think if we sit down over the next few months, a year should be enough.
If you look at the consensus report, Mark Nicotra, myself, and representatives from the city, the county, we all served on that. That was a 3-year in-depth study to look at all the data, look at all the facts, look at all the services we provide. It took 3 years to do that, and they have recommendations. We want time to look at those recommendations and even go deeper into them and see if there's other sharing opportunities that we can do. But giving us unrealistic timeframes, if we meet now, it doesn't give us enough time to have public input. We have to go back to our boards and ask our boards, are they okay with what we're coming up with? We have to do a lot of things that we do in village government and town government that just can't be done this fast. Go ahead.
They want 2 public hearings. Public hearings need to be advertised for 5 days. There's absolutely no, 3 days?
3
to 5.
meetings.
Okay.
Yep.
3 days, I apologize for that. There is no way we could get our communities involved, and they're the ones that vote. They have no information to vote on. Very unfortunate.
How long would you say right now it takes to come up with a plan to share at least one service? I know several of the towns are in cohorts with different parts of their municipality operations.
We are. If you take a look at the packet, there are pages upon pages of shared services that we do today and that we continue to do and have done over the last 5 to 10 years. Depending on the service, we'll decide the time frame. Most can be done. We sit down at a table and we work it out. You're talking a lot of people here. It will take some time. I can't give you a real time frame.
I think also you have to remember that the county legislature has a committee right now looking at consensus, and they've narrowed it down to some key recommendations. We haven't had a chance to look at those, but we have representatives from villages, towns, city, and county. We want time to look at those recommendations, and that could be a starting point for this proposal, but it doesn't give us enough time to really review those and to go through the structural changes that might need to be done at every level of government.
Go ahead.
How much of the consensus plan do you think you'll be evaluating as potentially putting into motion through this process? Obviously not the major consolidation.
That is still, in the
To be
works.
determined.
Yeah, it is.
To be determined.
What does it mean that, do you still expect you'll be able to engage earnestly in this process, or does it mean that the process is so flawed it's going to be difficult even to put anything together?
I truly believe that we can sit down and work on this earnestly. But again, you can't take it and expect us to make miracles happen to change government in major ways in less than 3 months. It's just impossible, and it would be done wrong, and that would be a shame. Yes, sir.
Does your group have a position on the census proposal?
Not a formal, but the 2 of us were on the committee, and then the city was represented. So the one thing I will tell you that through this process of consensus was that Mark and our role was to educate the committee on how villages work, how towns work, how the city works, and to let them know that the struggles that we have. Some of that information is clearly in the consensus report, some of it isn't, because of the state mandates and the other things that is in your press release. I think our biggest problem right now is that the state continues to push these mandates down. This is another mandate, okay? And they said they wouldn't do that anymore without funding relief or without mandate relief. We haven't seen any mandate relief. And let's just do a little time frame back. The governor, when he was the Attorney General, had a dissolution law. That didn't work. Then he went to the tax cap law. That didn't work. Now he's done the shared services thing. This thing is not a bad idea. It just needs more time. But he just continues to do these programs and doesn't give us the relief that we need. And let me give you one example. In 2004, when I took over as mayor, our pension bill was $63,000. Today, with one more employee than I had in 2004, it's $499,000. The taxpayers paid that. You and I and everybody here paid for that. Okay? Those are the reliefs and the mandates and the things that we're having problems with that the governor just doesn't want to talk about.
And there's others. Prevailing wage,
Yes.
pension costs, the tax cap, which is now under 2%, the Triborough Amendment, and the Taylor Law, all things that were mandated by the state of New York, and we were blessed with, I guess you could say, and
Yes.
they're difficult to deal with every single day, and it costs our taxpayers and us money. Those are where we need the relief.
When did you first hear about the governor's plan for shared services?
The law was passed on April 10th. We met, again, the Mayor's Association met on April 19th. The town met with their association on the 19th. And then we had a meeting on May 2nd that all the elected officials were asked to go to at OCC from the state, that they went through the proposal too. Now, to date, we have not had a letter from the county executive, and we're not against the county executive on this proposal. She has a role in this, and she has a duty to do per the law. But we haven't heard. And other municipalities have, other counties have. Madison County has already met. Jefferson County has met. There's other counties that have done some things. We just haven't started. But we're being also told that the school boards have been letters sent, and they have to have their responses back by June 16th. We haven't heard that yet.
If the deadline isn't reached with plan, what happens then?
There's legislation in here. There's a mechanism in the law to do
give an
something.
extension.
To give an extension.
Without penalty.
So will you be filing that extension?
It'll be up.
If you read
Yeah.
if you read through this, it's not our role
It's
to
not
do
our
that.
role. It would be the county executives.
What do you think the real fuel behind this hard deadline is? Do you think there's a reason it was set so soon?
I can't answer for the governor. Can you? It's unrealistic. That's all I can tell you. Unrealistic.
Was the county executive invited to join you today?
She was given the letter, yes. A formal invite, no, but she was given the letter. She's well aware that this is going on.
And I think one thing that I think everybody here today has to realize is people, residents of our state, choose to live in villages. They choose to live in towns. They choose to live in the city. Okay, they have choices. We represent 100% of the population in Onondaga County. Okay, we're the closest form of government to these people. We hear from them every day in our neighborhoods, in grocery stores, wherever they see us. They come to us. They have concerns too, and we're just voicing those concerns as the closest local representative to these people. We want more time. We're in favor of this. We've done it. But we're not getting any credit for the things that we've done. And we want that credit, and we want the funding, and we want more time, because we think this is a good initiative, because it's worked for us.
Credit being some shared services that you've already...
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And in the law, there is no credit for past shared services. So now, some of us share assessors, some of us share tax collectors, some of us share dog control. We do that as part, some are formal, some are informal, but we get no credit for those. It's got to be new initiatives, which is really hard to do in that short of time frame. It takes time to build those relationships. It takes time to build those frameworks that you have to put together to see if it's going to save you money. It gives us no time to do that. It gives us no time to go back to our boards, no time to have public hearings with our residents to see if they're in favor of it. So we just want some more time.
It took consensus 3 years. 3 years to put together a proposal, and they went to the towns and villages. So to ask us to do this in 6 weeks, it can't be done. Not and done correctly. Other questions?
You said that the school boards were being invited?
Yes, that's our understanding.
Yeah, do you know by chance if they're going to have a vote in this process at the end, or are they just...
Again, that would be up to the county executive.
If they did have a vote, would that further complicate? Because you all have the power to veto it individually.
We do.
The county executive may invite to participate school districts, BOCES, or special improvement districts. So that has been done, from what we've heard from different school superintendents.
Any idea why it's taken so long to convene the first meeting?
Cannot answer that.
And Onondaga County has been talking about consolidating services for a long time. Is this the fact that you all are already kind of up in arms about the process? Any indication about how this might go in the rest of the state?
Well, you know, we're not up in arms about the process. We're up in arms about the time frame. We're already consolidating our services, not some consolidation, some shared services, and we've been doing that. You only hear from the governor and others that it makes it sound like we're not doing anything, and that's so unfair because we've been doing it, and we will continue to do it.
Has the governor specifically addressed this in Onondaga County? If that was a state law for every county in the state, I'm sure there's counties far behind Onondaga County. Consensus should be given a lot of credit in this county for having happened. Maybe the governor didn't intend this to be such a strict mandate on this county.
It's all of us.
Well, it's the rules for everybody, but maybe you'll get a little bit of credit for just being in a more progressive county than the others. What do you think?
Well, I'm not going to answer
I'm
that.
not gonna answer that
I will
either.
tell you that we have some data that says, and I can give this to you. I'll just give you a couple counties. Jefferson County Chairman Scott Gray has recommended that the legislature not pursue shared services because the timeline is unrealistic. As I told you, Madison County met on May 9th. Herkimer County met on May 4th. Rockland County met on May 2nd. Chautauqua plans to hold a meeting by the end of May. Erie County had a meeting on May 17th, so some are starting. Yes, Onondaga County is ahead of the plan with the consensus, but if you look at the law, it says that they have to convene the town supervisors, the mayors, and we have to have a meeting. That hasn't been scheduled. This isn't against, and let me make this very clear, this is not against the county executive. This is the governor's law. The governor's time frame is unrealistic to do it right. And frankly, as a mayor of the Village of Fayetteville, and as representing the mayors of all the mayors in Onondaga County, we want to do it right. That's our job. We don't want to rush it through. So we want more time.
This is a plan to fail if it's not done right. There's a lot of good ideas in the consensus report, but it takes time. Other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you to all of you.